welcome to BizJet TV. My name is Fabrizio Poli, and today we're going to be talking about safety management systems, SMS as it's called, and we're going to talk about flight safety and the recent developments that have happened and the importance of these systems, which is a really important element. You know, people always get caught up about the airplane. I want a fancy interior, I want this, I want that airplane because I like the shape of it. I want something that can take me long distance. I want something that lands short field. And they're always focusing on the airplane. And they don't think of, the pilots, and they don't think of flight safety and training and all those other elements. As I've always said, there's always, three aspects to the private jet, and the airplane is only one of them. The pilots are another, the training, the management. These are all important aspects, and they're just as important as each other. So you can buy the latest and greatest airplane with the most sophisticated technology in there, but if your pilots aren't trained and your pilots don't operate in a certain way, it can get very dangerous, and the safety record in private aviation is very bad. But anyway, that's enough from me on this intro. So we're going to be talking about all these factors on this video, so I encourage you to have a watch. In particular, if you're thinking about buying a private jet, this is an important element that you need to know about before you jump in to purchase your first airplane. So if you haven't subscribed to BizJet TV before, I encourage you to do so. This channel is all about private aviation, so click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up at the end of it. Like this video because it helps to get the word out there. The algorithm then kind of likes us and it puts the word out there about BizJet TV. And always comment below. We love to hear from you, hear recommendations, suggestions, your comments about the videos and that. It's always cool to hear from you. And thank you for watching this. So let's get straight into today's episode, all about safety management systems. Off we go. Now, SMS in aviation terms stands for Safety Management System. And this is something which is really, really important to have on your private jet. Now, most of the airlines have a safety management system now. And the safety management system is made up of two things. One is the FDR, which is the flight data recorder. And the second one is the FDM, the flight data monitoring. Now, these systems on board, as well as recording the conversations going on between the pilots, the famous cockpit voice recorder. It also is recording all the data. So it's recording all the performance of the aircraft. So how fast it's going, how low, how fast it's descending or climbing, whatever it may be, and also monitors all the systems. So basically what that does is it allows the pilots at the end of a flight to download all that, project it up on a computer screen and look and see exactly what they were doing, and if they did a bad approach and whatever, go and see where they went wrong, and allows them to get feedback which allows them to improve. Now this is really, really important. Now just recently the Air Charter Safety Foundation, which is made up of 1,900 charter operators in the United States, offered the FAA voluntary SMS program, and unfortunately only 1% of these, only 20 operators are actually signed up to this. There's another 213 that have applied, but assuming those 213, their application goes through, that would only equate to about 10%. Now this is a really, really poor number because the safety record in private aviation, as you've heard me say more than once, is 5 times worse than the airlines. And the people that are driving this statistic completely out the window are the pilot owners, but also the charter operators aren't doing a very good job. And we see the fact that, only 1% are signed up to safety management system. They kind of think that, that they don't need it. And this is kind of interesting because, safety management system is something where if everything's going well, you don't even know it's there. And it's a bit like security. There's a friend of mine who has a security company, and one of his clients said to him the other day, he said, Bob, I don't know why I pay you because nothing ever happens. And so he turned around and said, well, you know something? That is a compliment. You pay me so that nothing happens. So it's the same here. But, the fact that people don't see it, this is the danger here. Now, let me just give you sort of a scenario here of how this thing works. So your pilots, and I suggest that, the safety management system is integrated to the flight training, and you allow your pilots, to download this information, and it's not used as a big brother tool to sort of, tell people off. Now, this is a feedback mechanism to help the pilots to see what mistakes they made, because believe me, pilots make mistakes. We all do. We all make mistakes. And it's not about not making mistakes. It's about error management. and finding out what causes mistakes. And so having all this data available today, which is great, allows you to gain that feedback. Now, when your pilots go for flight training in the simulator, for example, this is I've done a number of times, the session can be videoed, recorded, okay? And then what happens after the session, the instructor takes the two pilots into the debriefing room, puts up on one screen the pilots in the cockpit pressing all the buttons and talking to each other and reading the checklist. And then on the next screen, you can see the airplane, the speed and everything in that on the map. And you see what the airplane is doing and it's in sync. And then what happens is the pilots are asked to debrief themselves. So they basically spot themselves making mistakes, try and figure why they made the mistakes. And then the next question is, what would you do differently? Oh, well, I see I did this, I made this mistake here. So this mistake was caused by this other situation. And so I need to address this situation in this manner next time. And that's the way it needs to be used. So, as you're sitting in the back and your pilots are flying and everything's uneventful, you may not see the benefit, but in reality, you are experiencing the benefit because your pilots are carrying you, flying you from A to B safely all the time. And that's really, really important. The other thing are go-arounds. Now, sometimes owners of private jets, they don't like, or passengers in general, don't like the go-around, but go-arounds are necessary. And if you want to check the video that I did on go-arounds a while back, it will explain to you go-arounds and the fact that it's very, very important to have a system in play amongst the pilots, standard operating procedures regarding unstable approaches. And that's really, really important. So it's also standard operating procedures have to be in place as well as a safety management system and flight training. And those three need to talk together, need to be synergistic, needs to be like holistic, all three together in order to keep you safe. This is even if you have an operation where you've got one airplane and two pilots, or if you're a pilot owner, you need to be monitoring yourself. You need to have a system like that that's monitoring you. So then you can download this and go over and say, that landing was a bit fast or a bit long or whatever. Well, guess what? If the landing was hard or the landing was long, it's because there was something wrong with the approach. So let's go back and have a look at that approach. Let's replay it and see what I can do different next time so that I don't do a hard landing or I don't land long. Because these are really, really important factors. So all this data that we have, it's a bit like in the football world today, or soccer world as you call it in the US, where, the professional football teams get a lot of data about their players and about the game. And they can then analyze, the match analysis can be done. And you can look at all that data. And the reason they look at the data is to improve the performance of the team. Well, this is what you've got to look at it. The safety management system on your private jet is there to monitor these champion pilots that you've hired so that they stay champions. Okay? Because all pilots, even the best pilots in the world, make mistakes. And sometimes you can make a mistake and not realize you're making a mistake. And, and the question always is, why did I make a mistake? What caused me to make a mistake? So that error management is really, really key. So I always, cringe when I see people spend $25 million on a private jet and they want to pay their pilot 100 grand a year. And they're not willing to pay their pilots good money, but they're not willing to pay for more training to integrate systems like safety management systems. Send your pilots to do some more simulator training than the minimum requirement. You want these guys to be able to perform at their best so they can keep you safe. This is really, really important. And so safety is first, and you need to invest in this. And so, safety management systems are really key. And it's really sad to see the Air Charter Safety Foundation have just a very small number of operators that have actually signed up to this FAA voluntary SMS program. So if you're watching this, I encourage you to, get your pilots to sign up, your flight department to sign up to this, because it's really, really important. It's going to keep you safe. Yes, it's going to cost you some money and it's going to take some time, but at the end of the day, it's going to keep you safe. And the number one reason people charter or buy private jets and use private jets is to save time. Well, guess what? If you crash, you're never going to get there. So let's think about this. Now, if you want a private consultation with me, you can reach out to me on an email. We can talk about this subject or others. I encourage you to have a look around at different videos here on BizJet TV. Lots of information here about private aviation and how this whole thing works. It's something really, really important, especially if you are somebody that has never owned a private jet before. You need to sort of educate yourself. This is an important purchase that you're going to be making, and there's lots of elements to it. It's not like buying a car or a boat. Boat you can dive in the water and swim. Car you can stop on the side of the road, but plane, 45,000 feet, something goes wrong, you can't just jump out the plane unless you've got a parachute. But even if you were to do that, you have to know how to parachute. So anyway, so it's really, really important. and it's important that you seek professional advice as well. So anyway, I'm available. You can ping me an email and can schedule you in for a call and sort of hear more about what your needs are and see what we can do for you here. And if you haven't subscribed to BizJet TV, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel all about private aviation. Comment below, give us a like, thumbs up there, because it helps to get the word out there about BizJet TV. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on BizJet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.